I used to be like you in the fact that I thought that the best way to get someone's attention was to make sure that they remembered me, or that they knew I was still there, or that they could see my commitment and dedication by constantly messaging, constantly seeing how they're doing, constantly being the one to create conversations and things like that. And looking back at my experiences, I can see that in every instance I was the one that was chasing. It always went bad for me. I would always be the one to only ever message first. Every time I tried to set up a meeting, I would get ghosted or flaked on. The people that I did have a stronger connection with would start to get irritated and feel like I was smothering them, and just things like that. And I realized that the reason why that's the case is because when you're in that chasing position, when you're taking on the role of being the chaser, you are essentially showing to them and your subconscious mind that their attention and everything means more than yours does. If you're the person that is constantly reaching out first over and over and over again, or constantly doing the most just to get something small from them, just to get a crumb of attention from them, you are essentially saying, my attention to them means way less than their attention does to me. And because your subconscious mind takes in what you assume to be true and pushes it out for you to experience further, for as long as that story is in place via the way that you're acting, that is what you will continue to receive. For as long as you stay in that chaser role, you will forever be the chaser. This world requires balance. Now, yes, absolutely, you can dictate what you experience within this world, but you will find that every single thing that you do experience comes with some kind of opposing thing to make it happen. If you're focusing on manifesting more money, that money will come from someone. So by you gaining, someone else will lose. Not necessarily in a bad way. If you're obviously selling a product, they're parting with their money and you're giving them the product. But in order for you to receive money, someone else must pass it on. In order for you to be a chaser, someone must be a chased. Just a couple of examples, I could give plenty more, but this world requires some form of balance. And like I said, your subconscious mind will continue to put out the stories that it holds true. So for as long as you're in that chaser role, you're the chaser and they will forever be the chased. So instead, we want to flip that on its head. Because if it can work one way, why wouldn't it be able to work the other way? Why would you not be able to be the chased and have them become the chaser? Well, based on my own experiences and that with a lot of people that I've worked with, that absolutely can happen. It just takes by breaking a few cycles and making a few tweaks to your mindset. So the first thing that I recommend you do, and this is what I started to do, and it made a big difference for me. Of course, it was a little bit tricky at first, but it really did make a difference. Break the cycle initially. Now, we know when we're doing something. It's very rare that someone is completely on autopilot 24 hours of the day. You might when you're driving or maybe when you're doing some work and stuff. But we, for the most part, can be aware of when we're doing things. Now, when you notice that you are in that chaser position, you're picking up your phone ready to send them the 25th good morning text in a row, or you're sort of trying to show up at their house, or you're trying to put out Instagram posts for them to see it, to get them to conversate with you, whatever it is that you're doing, notice what you're doing and why. Consider, are you doing this in order to get an outcome, in order to get some form of reciprocation? Or are you doing this because this just feels good to you? Because 99% of the time when you're in the chaser position, it doesn't feel good to send that extra text. It doesn't feel good to double, triple, quadruple text, or to show up at their house a little bit nervous just in case they get mad at you for doing so, or posting that story hoping that they will see it. Half the time these things don't feel good, but we expect it to create an outcome, and we're hoping that that outcome outweighs any potential negatives that we're feeling. But of course, as many of you that are in this kind of position may have experienced, the more you do those things, not only do the worse that you feel, but the less you seem to get. So what I want you to start doing, and I'm speaking as someone who did this first, so while it may sound scary to hear, I can assure you, later down the line, it makes a huge difference. Break that cycle. When you're about to enter chaser mentality or chaser energy, catch yourself and say, nope, we're not doing that anymore. Even if it means you don't speak to them for the entirety of that day, or even if it means that you don't post that story, or whatever it is that your chaser energy is in that moment, break that cycle. Take that step back and open that void between you. Like I said, this world requires balance. There will be a void between you if you can take that chaser, if you can take a step back from that chaser role, because you can't both be chasers and you can't both be chased. So open that void between you, and while that void is open, remind yourself up here that it is already done. Your person adores you. Your person already messages you all the time. Why am I worried about messaging them first? Of course they're going to message me any minute now. My person is head over heels in love with me. My person absolutely adores me. We're in an amazing relationship. We are in the most loving, passionate, committed relationship. We're in a relationship that makes me feel safe and secure. We're in a relationship in which person shows up for me in the best possible way. Those kinds of things. By taking that step back, you open that void, you open the position. Because for as long as you're in the chaser role, they can't be in the chaser role as well. So you're opening that position up, allowing them to finally fill it. And the way that you get them to fill it is by assuming they are either A, the chaser, or B, you're in a dynamic that is exactly what it is that you desire to experience, which will aid them in filling it automatically. Because what you assume to be true will become true to you, for you, due to your subconscious mind taking that story in and then pushing it out for you to be true. If you're sitting there claiming things like, I'm in a loving relationship, they're always messaging me first, or they always make time to message me, they provide me the best and only the best, I feel safe and secure within this relationship, things such as that, if you're residing within those spaces, your subconscious mind is going to push that out for you to experience. And now that you've opened that void for them to actually enter the role as the chaser, in order for those experiences to be true, one of you must be putting in the work. Well, obviously it takes two to make a relationship, but in terms of this dynamic of chaser-chased, one of you must be putting in the work in order to make that dynamic true. Now, if you've taken the conscious effort to take a step back, and obviously we're not taking a step back in the sense of, I hate them, I'm never going to message them again, but you're taking the step back and then saying, it's already exactly how I want it to be. And because of that, that means the void is open and the story is being told to set your subconscious mind. That then allows this person to come in, to take that step and to become the chaser. And once you do this, even just this small pocket of taking that step back and breaking that cycle, it can make a massive difference for you. It will make a massive difference for you. Let me give you an example from my own life. Now, this was a few months after I found out about the law. I was kind of testing a few things. And there was a girl that I kind of liked. And while talking, because I didn't really know any better, I was never particularly any good with women, I was the, sending good morning texts every single day and just the really cringy shit that now makes me feel sick thinking about it. But I would be that person. I would be constantly trying to get the attention, constantly trying to create the conversations, trying to create open-ended questions so they had a reason to get back to me and stuff like that. Not really seeing my value in the whole thing. And it got to a point where I just kind of got sick of it. I was just bored of not getting anywhere. I don't know how old I was 20 something, like the early 20s. And I was like, what am I doing in my early 20s just sending good morning texts to someone that clearly couldn't give a fuck about me? So I stopped doing it. I broke that cycle. But while breaking the cycle, I also tried to change my views on a few things. I tried to change my views in regards to them to basically say, they're missing me, they're going to reach out any moment now. Like, I don't need to be the one to text. If they want me, they will, and things like that. And after, I don't know how long it was, maybe a week and a half of no longer texting, at this point, I'd pretty much almost even forgotten, about them because I just decided that I was breaking that cycle. But after maybe like a week and a half, they started messaging me first. They started trying to check up on me. They started trying to get me to sort of meet up with them. They started trying to get people to get in touch with me to try to see where I was at in regards to the dynamic that we had. There was a complete switch. And it's because I finally opened that void and actually allowed a moment for her to reach out and change the way that I was viewing the dynamic. Instead of seeing it as, what am I even doing messaging someone that doesn't even want me? Or, oh, still no message from them, let me keep messaging them. I changed it to, I'm not going to do that. I'm better than that. I deserve more than that. Took that step back and then changed the way that I saw the dynamic entirely to, well, of course they're going to message me. You know, they're missing me, they're all of these kinds of things. And that created that dynamic within where I actually saw myself as more valuable than I saw them, and they filled that void. Now, obviously, clearly it didn't go anywhere because Katie and I are together, but that was my own choice, to be honest. That was more of like a got to know them more, realized it wasn't what I was interested in, and then left it at that. But it's an example of where I went from being the chaser, doing the same things every single day, getting nowhere, flipping that script on its head, breaking the cycle, and then they started coming toward me. So this is a very simple way of getting someone to chase you. I don't want you to overthink it. I literally want you to just go, if I'm doing something from a chaser energy, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to take a step back and say, well, why am I even bothering? I know that they're mine. I know that they love me. I know that they're showing up for me, yada, yada, yada. You're going to break that cycle, open that void for them. Literally imagine it in your head when doing so. Okay, I've stepped out of that chaser role. That means it's got to be there. And considering this world requires balance, and I'm telling my subconscious mind that we are together, that balance must be filled by them showing up for me in that way. Cool, let me just enjoy it while I wait for them to do so. So simple, but so extremely important and effective. So I highly recommend you give it a go. But thank you all so much for watching. If any of you are in need of one-to-one help to help overcome whatever is stopping you from being able to break that cycle and create the things that you want, down below in the comment section and the description is the links to my Linktree, where you can find the links to my website, where I offer tons of really well-priced and valuable coaching solutions. If you're not looking for one-to-one coaching, but you would like additional help from me, I also have a monthly membership, or I have multiple tiers of a monthly membership, where you can get tons of exclusive content, free worksheets, free planners, discounts on everything, free routines. And on the higher tier, the gold tier, you can even have a free 10-minute call with me each month and access to the members only live streams, which we just did one and it was absolutely great. So I highly recommend you check out those memberships because they're amazing value for money and they will help you even further with your manifestation. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye-bye.